Hello, hello, hello. It's Bumi Banjo and I welcome you to another episode of Salt and Light. I'm happy you've joined me today. In the last episode, we started the alignment series, In Step with God. And today I want to look at signs of misalignment with God. So why don't you join me today as we look at misalignment, out of step with God. Proverbs chapter 3 from verse 5 to 12 in the Message version reads, "Trust God from the bottom of your heart. Don't try to figure everything out on your own. Listen for God's voice in everything you do. Everywhere you go, He's the one who will keep you on track. Don't assume that you know it all. Run to God. Run from evil." Let's look at some signs of misalignment, out of step with God. How do I know if I'm out of step with God? First sign, are you listening to the voice of the market? Is the voice of others prevailing over the voice of God? Do you still hear the Holy Spirit? The danger sign is if you no longer hear the Holy Spirit. This will be an evidence of being out of step with God. Let's look at a second sign of being out of step with God, of being misaligned, a feeling of emptiness. There's a common proverb that says, a river will surely get dry when it's no longer connected to its source. David said it better as he said, "As the deer panteth for the water brooks, so my soul panteth after you, O Lord. When shall I appear before your presence?" Many times we refuse to appear before God's presence and so we dry up. When we do this, we're surely going to run out of steam and be out of step with God. The second sign I want to talk about today of misalignment with God is a chaotic life. Jonah is a perfect example. He was assigned by God to go to Nineveh. He paid the fare and went to Tarshish. Long story short, ended up in the belly of a whale. When life doesn't seem to make sense anymore, when life is now a life without peace, it's a chaotic life and it's a life that's out of step with God. Jonah had to make peace again with God, how to fall back in line with God before life could become normal for him. And so that would be my second point, a chaotic life. Have you checked your life lately? The third point I want to talk about is a perpetually distracted life. Is your life out of focus? The children of Israel were like that, undulating. Today we believe, the next day we don't believe. But can't that also be our life sometimes? And that's why we ought to pay attention, because a perpetually distracted life will lead to misalignment with God. My fourth point is, have you lost your confidence lately? I talked about in the previous video about godly confidence. Have you lost your confidence lately? Are you believing now that you can't do anything because you feel that God is no longer with you? Well, maybe it's true that you're out of step with God, but I want you to know that God is always waiting for you. He loves you and you ought to get back in step with God. Don't lose your confidence because it has a great recompense of reward. And that's my wrap for today. Join me in the next video where I'll be speaking on realignment, back in step with God. You don't want to miss this. I love you and I'll see you next time on Salt and Light.